Yeah. Let's go, y'all. We live from the battle to the glory. Yes, we are from the battle to the glory. Yes, we are here. It's Tuesday. Oh my goodness. I know you guys missed us for the weekend. I hope the weekend was great for you guys because the weekend was great for me. It was like light. It was light because I had to work on Monday. So usually when I work on Mondays, the weekend is real light. I only got one day off. That Sunday. I've been back in the gym swimming 2 days this week. Listen, I'm tell you that swim exercise is no joke. I only did 10 laps. So 10 on Sunday and 10 on Monday. And let me tell you something. As soon as I got out the water, I got something to eat and I took a nap, man. I slept for a couple of hours. That's how much if you ain't conditioned to do that, listen, the swimming will absorb all of your energy. Trust me. But yeah, enough of my little weekend. My little weekend. Lady T, what's up? What's up with your weekend? How was it? How was your weekend? Shall I say?
I had good rest. I had a lot of good rest and I feel revived now that I had that time of rest and relaxation. And I mean, I got hours of sleep and it was necessary because I was emotionally exhausted. So this topic today is it's kind of hitting home for me, emotional
Yeah, buddy.
intelligence. Ugh,
It's,
yeah,
it, but it, but the key word is mastering emotional intelligence
that's
and I
everyday.
and confronting the tough feelings. You know what I'm saying? So as we talk about this, like how would you describe that mastering or trying? Even though you said it's your everyday right now, how do you master it? How are you trying to master it? How are you trying to cope with all those things? What are some of the strategies are you using to master those tough feelings? What are you doing?
I mean, I think everything when it comes to emotional intelligence, you really have to understand and recognize your own emotions and the emotions of the other person that you are dealing with. I mean, mastering it means that you are able to have self control and be able to, help people through their hard times when they're emotionally disabled, or not aligned in the right path. So for me, um, test the test time is always coming to a person's life, and I'm going through a test time. I'm going through a transition. I used that word earlier last week about, I'm going through a transition time. There is such a deep transition time for me that I don't really know, what to do but to be an observer. And I think emotional intelligence has a lot to do with being an observer of your own emotions and your own reactions. And that is what I'm doing. I have to pay attention to myself, to my reaction, how I respond, how my body wants to respond or does respond immediately, or if I have to calm my body down and tell it, no, 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 you're not in charge. I know you're used to being that way, but have a seat. Wait a minute. That's a lot of mastering. You
Yeah.
have to truly be about your business for yourself. Um, but that's an everyday thing because people come into your life and they say things, they react and they do things. Their behavior is unbecoming sometimes, and you want to respond with a way of, slapping them upside their head or, saying some words that could, hurt their feelings. And that is something that is a difficult thing to always remind yourself, hold on, don't say that, don't act that way because that is truly discernment to know how to respond and know how to be emotionally. So, mastering it, I think that's going to take a long time. I think when you get to a certain age, if you are able to have a way of being around so many different personalities and behaviors and not allow it to take you out of alignment of your true authentic self, of being in a higher place, of being in a higher state of mind, and not being in a fear mind way or a scarcity or a lack or unworthiness. There's something about emotional intelligence that has a higher way of thinking, a higher way of being and becoming that we have to learn how to do. And I'm going through it right now. I'm so disappointed in people right now. I'm so disappointed in their behaviors and their reactions, or how, you know, situations where we have no control over certain things, and we have to respond in a way where we are ethical and we are responsible, we are professional, we are kind and giving still, even through the chaos. And I'm disappointed in people right now. So for this past weekend, have had to take a step back and just recoup, take away the time of being around so many people and their personalities and their bad behavior, and just say, I can't let this reflect my energy right now. I got to protect my energy. So my energy is precious to me because I'm worth it, to be able to have a clearer state of mind and still be in a loving way, but I got to hold back from being around certain people. And emotional intelligence, that is where you are intelligent about your own way of living, of how you respond, how you deal with people, how you are, behaving, even when you are in situations that's uncomfortable. Oh, that was long-winded, I know.
No, you good. You good. You good. You expressing yourself, and that's what we
Mhm.
want to. We want you to express yourself. That is wonderful. It is a pleasure to hear you express yourself. Yes, keep that smile. Them cheekbones hurting. But listen, and also you got to think about this too, confronting the tough feelings, just confronting those things. And we say this podcast is faith-based, and truly it is, because guess what, that's what keep us, I think, even in the midst of our struggles, I think the love of Christ keeps us rooted, what I'm saying, always thinking 2 steps ahead, or of not 2 steps ahead, thinking about the consequence. Is it going to be greater, the consequence, than our response or our actions? And so I think that for me and you, I honestly say that for me and you, it's like we think about that. And because, sometimes we act on emotions, and when we act on emotions, sometimes we do the wrong thing. And that's why we're talking about, mastering that. It's just being able to be in the right place. You could be in the wrong place, right, at the wrong time, but still you're being able to navigate in that atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? That's important. You got to really look at that. And I think that's our relationship with Christ. It helps us. And we're saying that it can help others. Even, and then we talk about confronting the tough feelings. Sometimes, I'm gonna be honest with you, as a Christian, rejection is something tough to deal with. You want to show that love, and you want to show, you know, unconditional love, and someone turning you away because your heart is genuinely want to show that love, and they're like, I don't want, and they bad mouth you. If they not bad mouthing you, they're looking at you, they're downing you, they're cursing you, they doing all those type of things. Sometimes that's tough. I don't know about you, Lady T, but for me that was tough. When I first start my walk with Christ, and I just wanted to tell everybody about the good news. I wanted to tell them. And then I realized, as I matured and got older, everybody's not ready to receive it at that particular time, because I received it at a certain time in my life. And so everybody's not ready to receive that type of joy, that type of happiness, because of where they're at in their life. You know what I'm saying? They may have been hurt, and that they're hurt, they're not trying to hear that right at that moment. They may be grieving. They don't want to hear God sometimes. And that's tough. And it's tough to confront that, because you want to be delicate when talking to somebody in their tough times, and their hard times. You want to be able to be delicate and respect their feelings, respect their mourning, or respect their space sometimes. And sometimes it can be tough. And I think that's where the tough feelings come in at for me. And there are other things, but I want to hear from you and how you feel about it, because I know for me that was big in my beginning walk with Christ. The rejection, the saying, you don't know, and then not only that, not only the rejection, you know what else? Sometimes the people who you knew the most, or they know you, they quick to say, "How you gonna tell me about this and you did this?" And I think they missed the whole concept of the forgiveness part. What do you think about that? That's just me.
I like rejection actually. You and I are different with
Wow.
that. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
Lord Jesus.
Rejection
Help me.
means that there's a better opportunity waiting for me. That's how we are to look at everything. We are supposed to look at anything that is supposed to close or not be open for you. That means God has something else better for you that you have to just wait on and be patient and trust. There's rejection. What we think is rejection is not actually rejection. It's just something that is going to, give you patience for a better, because you have to look at it as, I didn't get that, but I'm going to have a desire for even better and greater than what we call rejected on. So my mindset is always looking at a higher place because I have to. If I don't look in at all my situations from a higher level, I am going to allow fear, scarcity, lack, um, you know, disadvantages of life, it's not abundance. God is abundant. He does not lack anything. And so I have to have a mindset of that way. So rejection to me is an opportunity for something greater. So that's what I see rejection. If a person is not giving what I think they should give me or what I feel like I should get, I will keep it in my mind as, I see you. I might even acknowledge them and say, look, I see this about us. And then I'll just let it be. And then in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to have better because I deserve it. My heart is for having what I desire, and I know God's going to give it to me. So that's my mindset. So rejection for me, I don't think everybody else thinks. I look at it as, and I don't get me wrong, I did in the past, but I can't no more. The things that I used to do in the past, I can't do anymore because I can't be stagnant. I can't sit in the mud. I can't wait for nobody. I cannot sit up here and just say, oh, well, you're going to answer my prayers and I'm going to wait for you. No, I have to wait upon myself to take action to do for myself. And we need to do that. We need to have a mindset of taking action for ourselves and not looking outside for somebody else to validate us to move forward. What do you think?
I'm listening to you. I'm just listening to you.
But I mean,
Lady.
rejection is something of a mindset. Honestly, I
I,
think rejection is a good thing because I am going through a phase in life where people are being rejected and exited and saying, "We got to let you go. We can't have you no more," and encouraging those that are hurt by that rejection is difficult because they're comfortable. They don't want to change. That there's nothing nobody could have, done to help or resolve the problem or make it not happen. It's just a part of life that everybody goes through. It's very uncomfortable. So rejection is just basically about being uncomfortable in your own skin because you think you were supposed to be validated by another person outside of you or situation outside of you. And that's not the way we're supposed to live. We're not validated by these things outside of us. We are supposed to be validated within ourselves to know that whatever is coming in our way or going out of our way was meant to be. And I have to live by that. I have to live by that. And because even my daughters know, I used to tell them, hey, you don't want to deal with your mama no more, I'll walk away. And I would just never talk to them again. They always believe me. Because I've said that to them. And the reason why is because I can't live for nobody else. I can't live for anybody else. I cannot satisfy their needs. I cannot make them happy or make them love me. I can't have them, accept me as like, anything else but myself. And if they can't, anybody, this is anybody. If anybody cannot accept me, I have to walk on. Because you can't try to force somebody to make them want to love you or be around you or want to be in your presence. You can't force that. It has to be natural. And if you can't get to a place where you compromise and love one another and not have, disagreements all the time, and you can't see eye to eye, it's time. It's just time to take a break possibly. And I have no problem taking breaks. Yeah, you know me very well. So, and I'm trying to have better relationships because I don't want to always go that route. So I'm trying to communicate more, but I cannot allow rejection or other people's projection of what they think I should be or how I should act to take over my energy. I can't allow that. Our energy must be protected as sacred, because that right there is true, like self is the energy within yourself, is how you really feel, is what you really go through. Nobody can take that away from you, but you can't allow them to, I would think.
That's why we align with one another, because yeah, you can't. I don't let no one come in and disrupt my energy with their negative energy. So it's about, positive. We always say this. You have to be able to pour into one another's life, and so with that, it's always encouraging, not discouraging. And when you come into somebody's circle, or if not they circle, their life, and you're very discouraging, that's like a pull from your life. And so you gotta recognize that. We talk about, you know uh understanding and mastering the emotional intelligence. You got to recognize that negative energy, you can't allow it to pull you down. You can't allow it to get you, in that depression. No, you can't do. You say, you know what, I don't want none of that. You're gonna have to move on. If you're not adding value to my life, or your life, Lady T, you got to be able to say, you know what, let's time to move on. And you know me, like, I'm always like that. Like, if we can't have a conversation that's going to be, my having my motor running, my brain is just going and going, and it's thinking, and it's always, something valuable to me, to my personality, to my character. Like, I don't really have, outside of that, it ain't no conversation we gonna have. It's got to be something that gonna have me thinking, like, all right, I need to make some adjustments. Whether it's business, it don't have to be spiritual. It could be business. Is this something that's going to be beneficial for me and my business? And I'm going to listen. I'm going to be attached to that. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we talk about. It's just mastering that. And then in that midst of that, just having, sometimes we have these feelings that we don't like to talk about. And it's important to talk about it, because I always tell people that's the process. That's the beginning process of healing. You got something inside of you that's bothering you. You need to talk about it. You got to get it out. You got to talk about it. Find the right person to talk about it to, whether it be a coworker, friend, family member, but somebody that you can trust, somebody that you, like I said, add value to your life. Because guess what? They're not going to always tell you the things that you want to hear. They're going to tell you the things that you need to hear, not the things that you want to hear. And that's where it's tough at. Sometimes people don't understand that. The closest people to you, sometimes they don't know how to do that. And that's why we here talk about it, confronting those tough feelings, having those tough conversations. You know what I'm saying? There's a conversation that me and you had, and it's still stay in the back of my mind. And it's like, how do we talk about that without getting someone offended, or getting and they letting them get into their feelings? Sometimes we got to have those conversations.
Yeah, but you always have to be mindful that there are times where you can't put everything for everybody else to know and hear.
No, yeah, yeah.
But I do agree there are going to be times where you can talk to somebody and it will be a private time. You never know when that person's going to, pop up. So let me tell you, I had a situation last Thursday. I probably shocked the mess out of her. But a friend of mine, I hadn't seen her in a long time, and I was like so happy. And I remember how I felt, but intuition, something birthed in me that was like, made me immediately tell her, I am about to see something and I don't know what's coming, but if I gotta change, I gotta change. And she was like, wow, where'd that come from? And looking back, I know where it came from, but she was the one that got it. She got that message. And that truth, what I told her, everything that I told her was probably shocking to her, because I just basically just opened up like, girl, hey, and it just came out. And it probably shocked her, but she was meant to be the person that I would, open up to. And that's always how it is for me. I think that when we are in a situation where, we're pulled or we're meant to say something, I feel like we should just go ahead and just let it flow a little bit at a time. Watch your words, right? Always watch your words. But if you're pulled to say something, don't ignore it. Always, I feel like people should always listen to the inside of themselves to hear what the spirit, I'm saying spirit, everybody has spirit in them, to listen to the spirit and just allow vulnerability to open up their mouth and say words cautiously, but just a little bit. So, yeah, speaking to people is very important. But there's always a time and place for everything. And, there's some people you just can't tell everything to. There's always, you know, things that we need to keep to ourselves as well. And oh, I'm glad you bring this up. Keeping things to ourselves, that is something I am going to have to do. I've been instructed to be very quiet now. My time of being quiet is because I am going through a transition. Yeah, I know. You
Oh,
can't,
okay.
there was just, it's more of a, I can't tell everything to everybody. I cannot tell my next steps because some people do not have my best interest in mind. They have their own interest in mind, and I can't tell too much because there's something about to happen in my life that I have to walk into, but I can't tell everybody because that is like telling the left hand and the right hand, and then they sabotage one another. That's how it works sometimes.
Yeah, that's how it works. But I'm gonna ask you something. So, we talk about how we got to be silent sometimes, but then we have to have those tough conversations, or, we're emotional attached by something with the other person. So, you know, I think most people struggle is the communication with family. I think family is is where it starts at. If you have a good line of communication with your family members, that's close. If you have a lot of siblings or close knitted family, I mean, I think that line of connection, it starts there. If your connection with your family is poor, you got to think about it. Are you really having good connection with other people? Are you able to conversate with other people outside of your family? What do you think about that?
Mm.
Being able to communicate with your family, because your family is supposed to be first, and then you go out in the world and you communicate with people. I don't. What do you think? I don't think that. Let me just give you my take on it. I think if you have poor communication with family, I'm. I could be wrong, but I'm almost certain that sometimes you're gonna have difficult time communicating with people outside of your family.
I'd agree with that. If you have poor communication with your family, most definitely you're most likely going to have poor communication with other people because it starts with you. And if you are dealing with your own family, who is you, is a reflection of yourself, blood. And if you can't even have a conversation with your family in the right manner, you're not going to be able to do it outside with other people that are not your family. So I agree with you. But I don't think that
There's that but.
I don't think that it starts with the family. I think that it starts with whoever is in your life. Because everybody doesn't have family like we have family, right? You get what I mean? Like I mean, some people don't have siblings and they're the only child, or some people might have foster parents and they didn't really know them, or adopted parents, or things like that. Situations are always different, but it depends on who you are talking to. So everything depends on who you are talking to. We call it family, it's at the home, and I'll agree with you on it because it is at home first. But I mean, I look at it as we get older, we get outside of our family, and then we have other friends. But I think that family doesn't always work well, especially if you are a family that, what's the word, don't always see eye to eye, aren't always.
In agreement.
Yeah, yeah. If you have a family that dynamic that way, it's very hard to have a communication style that you can trust that person to be there for you, because the agreement was not there most of the time in the relationship with that family member. Um, but I think that family is a reflection of us ourselves. Our real family, our brothers and sisters, our parents are is a reflection of ourselves. And a lot of times we look at our family members and see the little things that we don't like about them, or the things that we think that we need to change or they need to change about themselves, or something they need to do better about themselves. Family does that a lot. We judge one another
I,
and we
what
sit back and we're like, mm-hmm, I knew they shouldn't have done that.
what I wouldn't say is judging, but because we have to have some type of outlook on what it's supposed to be. Not saying that, you know, let's just all right. Let's just say being parents, right? We look at our parents, right, and we say, they did this when they was raising me. I don't want to do this. So we have a like a semi blueprint of what it is to be a parent and what we supposed to do, right? But then once we, educate ourselves, or that way that they was doing it was kind of wrong, let me elaborate on that. Let me do it a little better and change the way what we saw. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's key. That's key too. Just recognizing, you know what? I'm not agreeing with that. We were talking about family. I'm not agreeing with that. Like I give you an example. Um,
You ain't got an
well,
example?
yeah, I gotta say, hold on, I gotta say this. Like, I was talking to my wife, right? I give you an example. So this, I was talking to my wife, and I said to my wife, I said, "Babe, if I got in business with my ex-wife, how would you feel?"
You asked that question. You really asked that question.
Yes, I said, but it. I was asking that question, and she was like, I don't see nothing wrong with that. Well, not no. Let me say no. It wasn't my ex-wife. My ex-wife's sister. That's what it was. Ex-wife. I said ex-wife. My ex-wife's sister. If I got into a business with her, and I was like, "Do you see anything wrong with that?" I would never do that. I just was like, I wanted to inquire that, and I
Why?
was,
You
huh?
wanted to acquire to
I
see
just
how she will respond?
because no. Listen, there was a conversation I had, and the person told me that, and I was like, yo, how in the world can you do that? How can you? It's so
I could do it. I could see myself doing it too because I have exes that I'm friends with. I have no relationship
no
with
no no
them.
no 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 no. I said it wrong, so I look, not
You
me,
said
not
sister.
me,
I know.
huh?
You said
Huh?
ex's sister, sibling, right?
No. All right, so like Omar, right? Omar is my brother, so his ex-wife,
Right.
he doing business with her brother. You got what I'm saying? So I'm like, how? Listen, you mean to tell me, all out of all of the people in this world, you have to do business with that individual? And
Yep.
it's not. It, listen, you can't say that's the alignment that is supposed
Why
to be,
not?
because guess what? Listen, the alignment was him, and that other person. That was the alignment right there. Now that connection was, if it was divine, right? It was divine, it would have happened automatically. It would just, before that connection had happened. That connection. That's like me doing business with, look, a old person that I used to work with, right? And we had, I got fired from them. I'm not doing business with a person that, like, kind of like did me wrong. I could find business elsewhere and still be prosperous. You understand
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I feel
Huh?
you. I think I'm different because I dealt with that situation in my life. I dealt with family members still connected to my exes and doing business with my exes. And I have exes that they be like, "Why'd you marry him?" I can't be friends no more, and I can't say that anymore. I had to let that go because They had a relationship with that person, that man, and their relationship is their relationship. I
Prior,
cannot be
they had
angry.
a relationship. They had a relationship prior to your marriage. Marriage.
No, it's not prior. I brought these men into my family's life, right?
Okay.
And my exes created relationships with these men that I have had relationships with, my all my ex-men.
Mm,
And they, they kept friendships, and that's okay because
mm,
I left each of them,
mm.
well, most of them, I left them on good terms where I've not had any issues, but it was not, I couldn't get like mad at them for keeping a
Do
relationship
you
and possibly creating business together.
you see how man will take something. And I said, man, I'm not talking about men. I ain't say men. I said, man. How man can take things. That's why the world is so messed up. And I'm gonna give it. Can you show me in the Bible where there was business where God brought two people together? I'm just trying to figure it out. I just said, man does things to afflict other people. It's an
But
affliction. I
every
That's just me. I'm not doing
everything,
business
not
with
everything
no.
is in the Bible.
I,
Examples, everything is not in the Bible.
I
You
mean,
gotta
you're right,
you
but where do we draw the line at? Where do we draw
it's
the
no
line?
drawing the line because look at it like this. It's no drawing the line. We are not the creator of the story. Really, we're not. You
Well,
think
oh,
you
oh,
are.
wait. So I hold on. Let me get together. Hold on. Woo! You're right.
Yes.
Because I was about to say something and I've been wrong. You're
Okay.
right. God is the author of our story. You're right. God. Okay, but we can very well change the narrative of our story.
Okay.
Can we not?
Yes.
Okay. All right. That.
So
So our
you
story is written. Yes.
right. You choose how you want to handle all the situations that come your way. And how
Right.
I've handled my situations, all the exes that I've had that my family members still kept in touch and did business with, I had to be gracious about it
Mm,
and very patient and look at it as this is where they are. I have to accept it. There's nothing I can do about it. I have to accept it. I have to accept it. And I asked just to cleanse me of whatever I was feeling. And honestly, I wasn't feeling much. There was one time I got annoyed with having to see one of them. I was like, give me a break. Do I have to always see this fool? That was my attitude. But I did not, and I didn't want to talk to that person because of so much that had happened in life, and I
hmm
didn't want to have conversation about it. Like there was just like that person I just didn't want to see, but I had to let it go. And I had a conversation with those family members. And I remember that conversation because I was in my heart to say it. It was like, it's time to talk. It's time to say what you feel. And I said everything I felt. How they received it is not on me, it's on them. And I let it be. And it was out of my heart, it was out of my mind. I let it be and I was done with it. And so that's why I come to the place to say I have no concern about who anybody else talks to, even if it was somebody. You have to have ill feelings for that person. I mean, truly ill, like I can't stand that mofo, and you want to never see them in life ever again. You hope they die. That type of ill feel and within yourself, you need to clean that up. You got to get some help on that. You need to talk that through. Go talk to somebody because that's some anger and resentment and hostility and a lot of, ugliness on the inside. I don't want all that. It just makes me, what is it, age me more? I don't want to get aged too much. I got a lot of grays right now.
Yeah. You.
Yeah.
I commend you on that because me, no, I'm not. I don't. Now watch this. So just to elaborate on that, look, I communicate very well with my ex-wife. You know, um, we went through our tough times, right? But as far as me getting in business or any of her family members, no, I will not do that. Do I communicate with them? Yes. Do I have any malice or any hate in my heart? No. That was our situation. That was our marriage. I'm talking about me and her. That was it. So everybody else that was connected to her, that was an addition. But after our marriage was over, those relationships that I had with them is over as well. Now, when I see them, look, when I see them, I respect them. Because I'm I have to still give genuine love. So I'm going to give genuine love because guess what? This is just me. Everybody different. You know, like you said, everybody have different situations. But in my walk now, it's like, all right, the people that's supposed to be in my life, I listen. I say, God, listen, the people that's not supposed to be in, allow me to see and understand the purpose of them being in my life. I want to know that if they're not in my life, they're not in my life for a reason, not because, not because I chose to put them out. No, God said, I look, remove anybody that not supposed to be in my life. You know, I'm talking about now. Before I wasn't like that. So that there are people that's supposed to be in my life for maybe for a season, maybe for the duration of my life. That's how I walk now. You know what I'm saying? But when there is, you know, something that you had 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and it's over. You know, you're starting a new journey, a new life, you know, a new job. Just so you're going to get new friends. You're going to have a different walk. You know what I'm saying? If it's not lifetime friends that you're going to continue to have, but you're going to get new. It's new. It's a new relationship. It's a new walk. It's a new life. You know what I'm saying? New friends. And
In
some
the
of those,
same area, right? You
huh?
live and you live in
No,
the same area.
I'm no, but I'm saying like I won't be in the same area because I'll
Oh,
be doing, yeah, I'll still live in the same neighborhood, but I'll be
mm.
doing something different. So guess what? We won't be lined up together because guess what? I'll be over here when they over there, and we won't keep it won't be a
But you
connection.
might pass them, right?
I
Because
might
you're
and
still
I'll
close.
say hello, but I'm just talking about business. I'm not getting in
Right,
business
right,
with somebody.
right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I
Okay. Mhm.
and I feel like, you know, that's just my opinion. I'm just my opinion, yeah, you know, and how I
Would
see it.
you
That's like,
say would you say that there is some type of you have a control issue with it when you say all that? It's like you are trying to control everything. When you
no,
say your family can't talk to them, like you're done, like there's no talking to my, we are done. This marriage is done. You can't talk to
all
my
right.
this ex.
Look, when we went, I'm being honest. When we first got our divorce, I told my family, listen, do not have her come around me. Okay, all my family. That's it. Right? I was like that. I was like, yo, I don't want to come. Don't if y'all invite her, I'm not coming. But guess what? That had to change. But in time, and I'm gonna tell you something. Esther helped me with that. How did she help me with that? Because she's like, yo, man, you that's old. You can't have that in your heart. You gotta let that go. And so I had to let it go. And so now I'm able to talk to her boyfriend, you know, and be genuine about it, not fake. It's like, yo, I just to be honest with you, I just had a conversation with her today. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, you know, you want to see people happy, and the people that has that malice or that resentment on individuals, you can't see past your pain. You can't see past your hurt. So when I went through my divorce, I was hurt, and I did some messed up stuff. So I'm taking accountability of some of the things I did, right? But guess what? I got past that. And how did I get past? When I got past it, I was able to see past all of that and say, at the end of the day, she's still a mother of my child. I have to have a good way of communication, you know, talking with her to the level of understanding one another. Now we very much different, but does that mean that we can't have a real conversation? Yes, we can. And so I recognize that, you know, the emotional part I let go. I let that go. Like the hurt and the pain, I said, let me get that out of here. I don't want that no more. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that next person happy. But like I said, business wise, I'm not going into business. No, I'm not going to do that. Because guess what? I'm like this. If our relationship, and some people are like, no, we can still go do business. If our relationship didn't make it, how can we make it business wise?
Well, you're talking about the ex-wife or her
Yeah.
ex-husband.
How
Okay.
so
Yeah,
how
I get that.
you feel
But
me?
I've been in situations with one of my exes, and I've done business with my ex, and it's been strictly business. And we have a better relationship as friends now, and we can do business than we did when we were together, 20 some odd years ago.
All right, so you could do business with a person you've been with, right? Okay, a person that you do business with, don't you have to trust them? So you mean to tell me you trust that person that you've been with, but your relationship with that person didn't work out?
Always remember, if you know somebody is trustworthy with their money, always remember it's about money. Their words, if their words are trustworthy with what they say they're going to do, what how they say they're going to react and behave, and you've seen it, you've seen that they're a true person with what they say, and you've seen how they manage their money, you see how they manage their life. That's trustworthy. Now, when it comes to a relationship, when you are in an intimate relationship, that's very difficult. That's very, very difficult. That is like the most difficult thing to be in a relationship with is an intimate relationship with another
I,
person.
so T, Lady T. So let me ask you something. Trustworthy means trustworthy across the board, right?
Right.
Okay. If you trust somebody with your money, but what happens to a person that you can't trust with your heart? That's no balance to that.
All right. Okay. So are we giving our heart even in business and every day?
No,
Like,
no, no. I'm saying trustworthy means trustworthy. So you could trust a person when it comes to money, right?
right.
But the trust of them taking care of your heart, you can't trust them there.
I mean, that is what I would consider the intimacy part. Okay.
Oh,
Mhm.
can you be in more
Like,
more in depth about um the intimacy part?
'cause I mean,
Intimacy
if you're
part?
in an intimate relationship, if you're talking about putting your heart into it, that
Yeah.
means you're in an intimate relationship. If you cannot work out an intimate relationship with person and it ended, most of the time you're not going to go jump into business with them. It takes years of healing. So I think that it all depends on the situation, but most of the time we're not going to jump into a business relationship once you broke somebody's heart. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. My situation is different. I've said over 20 years, 20 years of the hard time, and it didn't work out. And now we're older and we have more wisdom and experience of life. And we come together as friends and we do well in business. I don't feel that there's anything wrong with it. I have done business with many people that were my friends, are my friends, family, exes. And I look at it like, just be about what you say you're going to do and don't disappoint me because you will never get the opportunity if you disappoint me. Because I don't give second chances. I am not
What?
Jesus. I don't
Hold
give
on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
I'm
Wait a
not
minute.
Jesus.
You don't
I
give second chances, but you got to
mean,
be
I
able to
do,
forgive.
but I don't. I do, but I don't. I have my tolerance is very different. I'm very tired of having to wait on people to show up for me. If you're gonna do what you say you're gonna do, if you're gonna be about the business that you talk about, then do it. Don't sit up here and make me have to feel like I have to chase you or run to you to get you to do your part. I just don't have the time. I have no energy either. And I feel like we've come to a place in life that we all are special. Nobody is greater than the other. So who are you to think that you're going to, put me down and disrespect my time and energy? There's no way. I can't allow it. I mean, you could be the finest man in the world and I still won't give a damn.
Mm. Ooh, T.
I'm not
Lady
about
T tough.
looks.
Lady T is tough, y'all. She is a tough cookie.
I'm
Trust me
not
when I tell you.
about looks. I don't like the perpetrators. You look the part but ain't playing it. You gotta go.
I,
Next.
oh wow. That she said. Oh, next. Oh wow. Wow. Oh my goodness, man. Listen, T. It's always look. It's always and I know you don't really be into the social media. I'm not really into social media. I am, but I'm not. So I just look at certain things and come across some topics or come across some conversations. And listen, you said it before. This world is in a hurt place. It's in a hurt place, especially America. We always talk America, yeah. Outside the other countries outside of this, yeah, they said it's the melting pot. Yeah, it definitely is the melting pot. And we talk about how we love the energy that we have around us. And sometimes you got to realize that some people, they have this crab mentality. They see you getting to the top and they want to pull you down.
Mhm.
And that's why you can't be around those crab cats, those crab people. That see you excelling and they want to pull you down. They want to pull your energy down. Want to grab you down. They want to get you where they at if they're in a low place. But we're here from the battle to the glory. We're not here to do that. We're trying to keep you encouraged, try to teach you or help you find the places where you need to go, or try to educate you on the places where you need to go so you can be in a better place, having better conversations, having better relationships, and indulging in good relationships where that can turn into marriages. You know what I'm saying? And how do you get to those points? You have to, and everybody, and ladies be looking at me like this. Listen, marriage is a good place to be. It's how you look at it. It's how you decide to be with that next person. Are you going to be loyal? Are you going to be committed to that person? Are you going to be devoted to that person? These are the things we talk about. These are the things I'm talking about. Is because, and they always say, "Oh, you talking about yo?" Because guess what? I learned the hard way dealing with three different type of women at the time of my life when I was young. Right? I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to elaborate on my emotions. I didn't know none of that. So I was like a firecracker. That's how I was, like just coming out of the box. Because when our family kept us rooted in church, kept us like, oh yeah, man. Listen, I ain't have no. Listen. When I was a kid, a teenager, right? I ain't have other than my cousins, first cousins. Other than them, I ain't have no friends outside of that. It's like I spent the night over their house. They spent the night over our house. We went over there on the weekends. We played basketball. We rode our bikes. We did all those things. So I didn't have the experience to go out into the world and as a teenager, as a child, go. That's it. That's all it was. Church, going over their house, playing basketball, riding the bikes. That was it. It's special occasions, dinners, birthday parties. It was always family. So that's why I'm here about family, family, family. You know what I'm saying? And then on my new journey, my journey with a new wife, a son, two sons. Now I got three daughters. So it's a whole different thing. They grown. They all grown. But now I have to learn how to deal with their personalities, their emotions, their life experience. We have these conversations, we talk, we do all those type of things. How guess what? I had to be the person I am today. I had to grow into this person. So when I got to this time in my life, in this season of my life, I'll be able to talk with them. I'll be able to educate them. I'll be able to look at them and have this conversation with them and tell them not just from my perspective, but from my experience, doing it bad, doing it wrong, to doing it right. Just acknowledging their feelings, acknowledging, I've never been in that place before. So now let me figure out how I'm gonna be able to do that. And so that this is how we do it. This is what we do from the battles of the glory. And I always say to you, lady, you bring a different dynamic. You're a woman, strong woman, strong black woman, and you bring something to the table that more than you know. Everybody always comment they talk to me about they were talking about you today. I was like, oh my goodness, but nothing bad, nothing bad. It's just a conversation that we have, and it's like you strong, and everybody can see that you have this look like you not a bad look. It's a look of strong. Like you already said it. You acknowledge that though. It's not like it's nothing bad about that. You like, yo, you ain't no pushover. You ain't no woman that be like, yo, you could just say anything you want to, and you gonna be like this. Oh, thank you. No, you're not that
But
type.
I do actually do that. I listen, and I really, most of the time, if you say something nasty, I'm just going to ignore you, or I'll come back quickly with something. Yeah, that's that because it comes off as me being a pushover, but I hear you and I just ignore you because I'm going to be like,
Well,
I see you and I acknowledge it, but
but
I'm
you
not
don't.
going to respond in a way where I'm getting me out of my ladylike element. So let me say this about myself. That is something I'm really trying to do better when it comes to my strong outlook and my way and behavior, because it's hard to be accepted. It's hard to be loved. Yeah, by when people hear me talk, when people listen to what I say, I come off strong, and then I'm viewed as somebody that is so strong that I wouldn't know how to be loved, in a tender way. Let me finish this.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I
Go ahead, go
and
ahead.
and I've dealt with relationships like that, and now that I'm older and I no longer desire to have anything of what my past used to be, I I am really trying to get into my vulnerable state and truly settle in that beauty, because that vulnerability of being a woman and that femininity is such a oh, it is so it's been disregarded, and it's been, I want to say, molested. It's been, yeah, molested. I said that because we have taken the feminine and we have made lies, and we've heard it in the past, people in general. And I love it because it is the mother that has not been spoken of for years, and the mother is so nurturing that I want to embrace and embody that within myself, that I'm trying to, soften, and trying to be more of a kind and a patient person, and not be so intolerable of others, because I've talked to somebody who was a good friend of mine, and she was just talking about how she, really cares about the children. And I was like, I feel her on that, because I care about the children too. But then I'm like, well, what about the adults? Because they're children. Us adults are being ignored because we don't know how to talk to one another. And I really do want to be like the Christ, to be able to talk to everybody, communicate with everybody, and have the empathy and compassion to know how to speak and help, and not be a hindrance. And my voice, my body language reacts, my words, how I say things, make people hear me a certain way. And that's not my desire. So I wrote down some things, and this is what I have to tell myself. So my question is, who must I become to align to what I desire? To align. The aligning is my word. To align to what I desire. Who must I become? That is my question for myself. And that has been the transition of my life right now. I am becoming the woman I really want to be, but I'm going through the transition of having to actually experience the talk and conversation and the one-on-one with people that are going through it. Just like you said, America's going through it. America is hurting. America, people are lost and confused and do not know what to do and don't know how to be, and are really losing their mind. And I want to be able to help somebody when they come to me, because they were meant to come to me and I was supposed to give a good word. But I don't want to, the emotional intelligence, I don't want to put my own feelings in it and make the whole situation muddy. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Real good sense. Yeah, it does. You know, we sit here, we conversate, and we try to educate to the best of our knowledge. And I want to say to you is that you are a unique person, and the people who supposed to gravitate to you are going to gravitate to you, whether you're aggressive, you're not aggressive. It's the way you have become, and now you just have to learn how to communicate to those people that supposed to gravitate to you in that time, because me, I have a lot of energy. And so when I'm talking about God, I do have to be mindful of the people that I'm talking to at that particular time, because I get excited, but it's not meant for me to get excited. It's meant for me to speak at a moderate tone, so they can receive it as peace and not chaos, because sometimes we speak with passion, and passion can be seen as aggressive aggression. And so it's not about that. You have to, and you have to throw that in there. And sometimes when people, you look at them and they looking at you like, what are you talking about? You got to let them know, no, this is not about an attack to you. This is back. I'm so passionate about it, and so I love it, and I'm devoted. My devotion to tell you about it. It gives me joy to be able to do this and talk to you about it. And I think most people will receive it differently, and I get a different response because I know that's what they tell me sometimes. I get aggressive. I'm too aggressive. I'll be like, yeah, I'm passionate about it. It's not aggression. It's a passion. I'm passionate about it. And I do. I like I always said before. I want to be contagious, not contagious in a disease way, contagious in a way where like I want more. I want more. Give me some more. Give me that. I want that cake. I want that donut. But yeah, so that's what it's all about. And we just sit here on a constant and look, it seemed like the negative things is winning, but at the end of the day, I always say the people that have ears, let them hear. The people that have eyes, let them see. Because guess what? Yes, the negative things that it draws, it connects to people because it's something that's exciting. Oh, it's drama. But we're not here with drama. We're here with something that's going to be inspirational, encouraging, uplifting. And that's what when I look out in the world, it's a lot of negative things that's going on, talking about people, and everybody like to watch stuff like that. They drawn to that. That's that chaos. That's that negativity. They drawn to that. If it sound good, look good, they like, oh yeah, that's funny. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to talking about God and being like rooted, they like, I'll get back to that. And I see that. Trust me. I talk to a lot of people, a lot, and you know what it is. And guess what? They content where they're in life. They're content with that, and being that they're content with it, they're not looking to change. They're not looking to, you know, be a better version of themselves, or what can they do to make themselves better. They're not. Because I talk to them and I see it. I'm like, okay, you still want to be the same way. You still want to be in the same place you was 10 years ago. You still there.
But some people don't have that spiritual spark within
Yeah,
them.
that's what I said. They still want to
Yeah,
be there. They
but
still want to be in
but
the same place.
that's not who they're supposed to be. There's
They,
some people just don't have it in them.
they want to be in that dull place.
It's
Oh,
not dull to them.
yes.
It's fun and
No,
exciting when they
T.
have all the drama.
No, T. No, when I say
The
dull place,
entertainment is what you were talking about.
yeah, they want to be. They want to be in a dull place, and a dull place is just being content with that life. And it's not. I ain't say my life. I
But
said
it's
that.
not dull to them. It might be contentment to them
I
because
just.
they don't want more.
Yeah. Look, I said they're content with that life, but at the end of the day, dull is dull.
It's
I,
not dull to them, is what I
what
said.
you mean? Hold
Because
on. All right.
to them,
Hold on. Wait. All right. Let me show you what I'm talking about, T. Because you trying to just give them that. I'm telling them, if every day they go to the lake and they sit at the lake and just be talking, that's dull.
oh
Okay.
God.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It could be refreshing and reviving them. It could
It,
be, serenity and peace for them. It could be something that they
okay.
enjoy. But
Yeah.
you are looking at it from your outside
No.
perspective and you're saying it's dull. That's what I'm trying to get you to see. Don't say that
Hey,
because
hold on.
some people's perspective is not what you look at it as.
Okay. See, you want me to go into breaking down definition of words and everything.
Nope, you
Dull is
said
dull.
dull.
You can't
Dull
change
is
that.
dull.
Yeah, you can't change it. Don't try to change the word. Don't try to
It's
fixate it on
dull.
somebody else's life. No, dull is dull. Watch this. Some people watch this. Okay, look, watch this. Some people might say bowling is dull, right? Right?
Mm.
That's the wrong terminology they can use for saying bowling is dull.
Everybody's perspective is different. Your
No,
perspective of dull and
what?
another person's
Hey,
perspective of dull, they
see,
could say bowling is dull.
no, know what
But
they're gonna
they
say?
say
I don't like bowling. That's it.
they could say it's dull if they
No,
wanted to.
you can't say bowling because guess what? I look, yo, I set it off of me. T, you saying they can say that, right? Okay, now I'll catch you real quick. I asked a person, do you like music? Do you like music?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Do you like music?
Yes, you know
Yeah.
I do.
No, no, no. This is what I'm saying. Look, to be the devil's advocate, I'm saying
Right.
you like music.
Hmm.
Okay, now you like music, right? So we go to the bowling alley. The bowling alley got music. Oh, no duh. That's why I want to catch you right there. See, hey, come on,
The
you out there
pictures that
in a
you
lake,
paint are what you want it to be, okay? Paint your
man.
picture how you want. Write the story however you want. I tell people to do it all the time. It's your words, it's your scene. Create your world, okay? But I just said I don't think that we should be saying that other people's life is dull. We shouldn't look at them and say it's dull. Their life is where they're supposed to be. And most of the time, sometimes, I won't say most of the time, but sometimes a lot of people are just content with where they're at. They don't want more. They don't desire because maybe they don't have the capacity to, or capability or ability to go out there and truly keep more, or they want to enjoy the finer things of life with just the little things of nature.
So
But
Tiz,
everybody's life is different.
I know. So look, can you? All right. So let me explain. Let me get some out of you then. Somebody that's content. Explain that to me. If they're content with it, give me an example of them being content with it, and then I say, and I'll respond to that. Show me some when they say they're content with
Okay. And when you say content, it's anything. I'm trying to.
anything. Yeah, give me an example, and I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. When I'm gonna respond with the
I'm gonna
dullness.
I'm gonna say about me. I'm gonna give you a. I'm
Go
giving you.
ahead. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Because I wake up and I think this. I am content waking up, pulling my feet out of my bed, and knowing I'm the only person in this bed every single day. I wake up, go to sleep by myself, and I wake up by myself. And that contentment is real. I don't feel, oh, I wish I had a man holding me. Oh, I wish I wasn't by myself. I don't do all that. I have no desire to feel that way. The contentment is that I came in this world by myself. I wake up every day by myself and I'm content. I am happy within myself. I don't desire, I don't need a dog or a pet. I don't need nothing. Like there's contentment with just me. That's contentment because everybody looks at that situation. I won't say everybody. Many people look at that situation and be like, "Oh, honey, you shouldn't be by yourself. You too cute." Stupid stuff like that. But there's contentment being alone and knowing the presence of God within you. And when you are alone with the presence of God within you, everything around you does not matter. Hmm, that was my good example.
And guess what? That was your good example. And you did not come in this world by yourself.
Of course I did.
No, you did not.
I didn't have a twin. That's my point. It was just me. The
You
birth canal just came out of me and the birth canal.
hold on. Who carried you?
Mhm.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. But you came into this world by yourself? No, you didn't.
of course.
Yeah.
I
Come on.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
correct me
Eh,
on that.
Yeah, I gotta correct you. And then also
Mhm.
like this, guess what? There isn't a DNA that makes you connected to a man, period. You
Right.
choose not to do that, but there is a DNA that's in you that you have the ability to say, you know what? I don't want no man. That's your choice. But guess what? There is a DNA that's connected to a man for you.
Okay.
Ah, okay. I,
But
so,
that's not the point. The
but
point
but guess
is
what? Hold on.
how my
Let
perspective of my life.
look, let's elaborate on let's do a little bit of elaboration. Now watch this. Guess what? Are are you willing to do the things, the necessary things to make you available and ready for that
Where
husband?
did you get that I was trying to be available and ready? I
No, no,
said I'm content with
I
waking up alone by
I
myself
heard that.
and there's
I
no
know you
man.
content with
Like,
that, but I'm saying,
right.
are you willing and ready? You're not. So, in other words, you're not willing and
Why would I
ready
be willing
to.
and ready when that's not my desire? I had no desire for that. Did I say that I wanted to be with a man? Did I say, "Oh, I need a man beside
No, you
me"?
didn't. No.
Or
You
did I say,
content.
"Oh, I'm so tired of being by myself and waking up
No.
by
You said you
myself"?
content. You said
No,
you
that's
content. Yeah,
right. So
you're right.
why would I would have put myself in a
So
situation that would
so
possibly make me unhappy?
it's in other words, right? Look, that means you can. So you can just what you already said you're gonna do. So you can pack your stuff up, go live in Alaska by yourself
Nah.
with
No,
nobody
no, no,
else.
no. No. I need people. So my
Ah!
people are always
Hold on,
gonna be
but
there.
hold on. He said you could
But
take.
I don't have to have the people in my bed. That's my point. I don't have to have anybody in my bed. Like, there's a
I get
time if there now, don't get me wrong.
no, I
I'm
get
not
it. I
gonna
get it.
sit
I
up
get
here
it.
and say it. I'm not gonna go there, but yeah.
I get it.
Huh?
I'm just having some fun, just
I
joking
know,
with you.
I know.
It's just entertainment. That's it. But and look, it's entertainment, but it's not negative entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't have the time and the energy for that. We have laughed, we talk, but at the end of the day, sometimes, I'll be joking. Somebody said to me today, they said I like the controversy topics. I said no. I said when you look at watch this. When you look at church, when you look at some of these ministers and pastors, they really don't like to talk about the things they should be talking about. They talk about the kingdom of Christ, right? But let's talk about why people choose the people that they choose, the relationships that they choose. Why? Like their environment, their culture, are those places helping the culture or helping the environment to be better, or they just talking about coming to Christ at that particular time? I mean, how can we
Mm,
go ahead?
you ask a question that you should learn to get the answer and then start talking the statement of the answer.
I,
The reason why I'm saying that is because you're asking why people do it, but then there's a reason why people do it.
I know why they do it.
Okay.
Because they want to do what they want to do. They say, "Hey, look, it's my life. I do what
Well,
I
why
want to
ask
do."
a question then?
Nah, but
Well,
then guess what? Why I ask the question? Ask the question because guess what? The first time they come in some type of mess, they say, "Oh God, help me, oh God." No, hey, you just say, "I'm gonna do what I want to do." That's why. Yeah, you, Lord Jesus, help me. I'll never do it again. Help me, Jesus. Help me, Jesus, please. I won't do it again. Yeah, I want to do what I want to do. God, though. Yeah, see.
you're a judgmental God.
Nah,
That's what you
I'm
are.
a judgmental God.
God, God.
No,
It's like
I
you're
don't
you're,
judge.
you're God yourself, and you're a judgmental God.
Nah, I'm
You
just,
pay
hey,
attention to everybody else's life and be like, well, will you do this? Why you do that?
why?
Like it's
Why
coming
not?
for you.
Why
You
not?
because it doesn't work. People do not respond to threats.
Ain't
People
no
don't
threat.
respond. No, they don't respond to
No, they
anything
don't.
that
But they
has
can do. But they can do what they want to do and not expect the
There will be
consequences
there
of
will
their
be
actions.
consequences.
Yeah,
That's the thing. We know and what we need to do is speak to people and explain things of if you do something, it's going to be a reaction to what you
they
do.
right there. You
But
go.
it's how we say it, how we're speaking to people and how we're connecting. We're not connecting. We
You
haven't been
got
connecting for a long time.
that.
But you
Right.
know, I think
Because
that connection is coming. We are going through a process. People are having to get their butthole burnt a little bit. You
they
know,
what?
I'm sorry, my bad. I'm trying, okay?
Hey, yo.
I'm trying.
Oh
Sorry.
God.
But some people got to go through some tough times, some, uncomfortable situations for them to have an aha moment. And, how do I say it? Better humble yourself or be humbled. And, being humbled, that right there hurts sometimes. That's all I'm saying. I've been humbled. Trust me.
Oh, you
I
and me both.
understand.
Humble. I think humble is understatement. I've been broken,
Yeah.
broken. And God said, "Okay, you don't want to learn. I'm gonna teach you." And, and,
But
and Yeah.
But you know what? I want to see with your show because you've been doing this a year, and congratulations, you are past the year now. I don't remember your actual date, and we never really did any type of
I,
celebration
I
for
did.
your
I,
one
I,
year.
I did. I remember
You
the date.
did?
Yeah.
Maybe I missed it, but
No, we do. Yeah,
congratulations.
yeah, of
No,
course.
I mean you and me here.
Yeah.
But so I was thinking about it, and I want you, and this is something I want you to think about. What's your next step here? And don't tell me now. I want you
Mm.
to, just kind of put that in your mind for a little bit. Don't tell me now. I want you to think about it.
I can't. Sorry, you should have said nothing. You should have said it. You should have said out the show.
All right, you got it already.
Yeah, I do. I really do.
Okay.
Um, I feel like, well, not feel like. This is what's gonna happen. I'm telling you right now. This is gonna happen. We gonna get a talk show. Me and you, and
Oh Lord.
it's gonna be. It's gonna no seriously, seriously. It's gonna be live. And it's going to grow. People there are going to be, because look, and it's crazy that you asked me that right here. I'm telling you that because I had a like epiphany, like a dream, a little dream about it, that we was going to be on a stage and people were gonna be crying, they were gonna be laughing, and they gonna love you. They're gonna love on you, and you're gonna be crying, and you're gonna open up more. So more people, not just men, women, are going to really see the genuine you. I'm dead serious. I'm not. It's crazy. I said it. It's crazy that you said that, and I was like, "Dang!" And I didn't. I didn't even know how to tell you or say that to you. I was like, "Dang." I was like, "How am I gonna say this to her?" Because you know how she be like ready to roll up. I was like, you know how she be ready to roll up on me, like, yo, you already told me. He's like, yeah, if you get another, I said never. But yeah, that's what it came. It's like that. It's like I seen it like we gonna be on the couch. I'll be sitting over there, you be sitting over there, and it's gonna be people up there, and we gonna be talking. We have good conversation, and it's gonna be fun. And we just gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna enjoy this, and we're gonna travel to places that we never been before, and just like I said, and it's not about fame. It's not. I don't even see that, but it's going to be something that's going to be different. This is virtual right now, and like I said, it's different when you see. Like I said, like I told you before, when you see a person, it's different. We give off different energy. You give off this different vibe, and that vibe that you give off, people want to love one, and they're always gonna stay. It's always gonna stay rooted in God. Where everybody have their own perception, own ideas. I don't want it to be my ideas. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'm at work and I'm thinking about topics, and I'm like, all right, Lord, what you want me to talk about? This right here. It's because look, right now, it's mastering emotional intelligence and confronting tough feelings. And today we did it right here. Believe it or not, we did it right here. Just talking about tough things that most people don't like talking about because it's uncomfortable. It's not familiar. And guess what? We learn in this walk that we walk every day, just learning how to do it. But what happens when you're not having those conversations? That's tough to have. It whether it be family or outside the family, but you're supposed to learn those things dealing with your family first. So when you go out in the world, you'll be able to know how to do that. When you go out there and talk to your coworkers, you being able to talk with your family with those tough conversations. And then when you out there, now you guess what? You haven't experienced it. You have experienced it versus you haven't having those tough conversations with your family members. Then you go out there in the world and you have those tough conversations because you experienced it firsthand with your family members, whether they be close or distant. Just being able to do that. And I always say that practice makes perfect. And being your family is like your practice. Being able, because your family is not gonna always be the same as you. They're gonna be different. They're gonna have differences. They're gonna have different views, different understanding of things. That's why they're different. And tell them keep that noise down. That's only between me and you. You already
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Oh God. But yeah, but at the end of the day, like I love this right here. I love it. I mean, I like you've grown, you have, shown a different side of yourself, people recognize it. Like I said, it's people that, afraid to come out and say it. But you have, like I said, you have grown, you have shared a lot, and keeping it nice and professional, and that's what it's about. It's about growth. It's about understanding. And same thing with me. I've learned how to just, admit to being wrong sometimes versus always trying to be right or thinking I know everything. That's how it is. We got to be able to acknowledge that and be able to say, you know what, I don't know everything. I'm not always right. I could be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I want to be. I'm humble enough to say, I was wrong. Like, I talk to Rodney all the time, and I tell him, I say, he said on the show yesterday. He said, I got to tell Lady T. He put me on the big screen. It was like, I told him, hey, listen, I misheard you. Like yesterday, I misheard him, and I misjudged it, and I had to say, nah, I thought it was wrong. I mean, that wasn't right. You know what I mean? I was wrong. So it's just that. It's just things like that. You gotta be intentional. You gotta be real. And I think that's the most important thing. Just being real with people. On a level with them saying, you know what, I see that he's being genuine, he's been intentional to be honest and transparent and real, and not trying to be fake. And this because we on live. No, this is real. I ain't got it. This ain't scripted. And most people like to be scripted. No, be your genuine
Yeah.
self. Be your
It would
be
be
your
nice to be scripted sometimes.
huh? What'd you
I
say?
say it would be nice to be scripted. Like if we had like this topic, we had like bullet points that we wanted to talk about. Like, some
I mean,
people do it really good with that. I mean, I
you got
applaud
if,
them for
if that's no, but if that's the part of what we supposed to do, it'll come. It'll come. Out. Like I said, I'm still working on the introduction. That's gonna come. I got to get that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's supposed to work on the photos of us, or on our whole thing. That comes. This is the second year, going into our second year. This is second year and fourth month of this year. So we 12 months and 4 months in, and so it's a process. And some people been on their podcast for years. And like I said, it takes time, and I don't see this going away. I like this. You know what I'm saying? I like this. But now, just being able to go into a building and sit there and really talk to a person, and really see you and be engaged is something totally different. And just being intentional. I think that's the most important thing, just being intentional, being genuine. Like a lot of people don't want to be genuine. They want to be fake. I'm not that fake dude. Like,
But that's the thing, people don't know how to be genuine. And that is something I would be able to love to be able to communicate to help people be their authentic self, to step into who they truly are. But being comfortable is something we have to get ourselves to help people be comfortable in their own skin, because all we do, we act like creepers. People are such creepers. Like they just look at you, stare at you, looking at you, and be like thinking in their mind, and then you're looking at them like, what the hell are you looking at? Like you never know. People
uh,
act like creepers.
that no, true. That's true. And just that's why I'm always like, I meet different people. The people, like I always say that the people I'm supposed to meet, I meet. The people I'm supposed to engage with and talk with, I do, because they have a different dynamic. They have a different story. You know what I'm saying? There's people have came on this podcast, and I'm telling you, you haven't. I have talked to them outside this, and it's like, wow. Like I'm really so thankful and happy that God allowed me to connect with those people. You know what I'm saying? And some of them are willing to, they live far from us. They willing to travel to where we go live. I'm you don't understand. That brings so much joy to me. You know what I'm saying? And but then being in the space where I can, take care of their, and it's just my pocket. Not no bragging, no bragging, being able to take care of their hotel because I work in a hotel. Just giving a discount, getting a discount for them and doing that for them. You know what I'm saying? It's a blessing to be able to do that. And it's not like, I'm this type of person where I can't really engage with that person and talk with them. I would love for my wife to come on and have these conversations with us too, but she says she can't sit here like we do. I said, man, look, trust me, she got a story too. From the battle to the glory. Cause that's what it is. I'm serious. Like she be telling me, I'll be like, and you know what? I'm gonna be honest. When she told me her story, like some of her stories, listen, it's so upsetting. I didn't in the beginning, like I want to say the first 3 years, I didn't want to hear it.
Mhm.
I've worked through it, being able to listen to her story because I'm trying to tell you, man, it made me mad. I'll be like, want to turn into a monster. But that's her story. That's where, and that's why I love this title now, From the Battle to the Glory, because you got to be able to listen to some people's stories and listen. And then I don't have a big story like that. You know what I mean? I just, it's just my heart has opened up to receive and listen to other people's story and know that God, you are great. God, you are merciful. God, you, oh my goodness, you're omnipotent. Like that's what I get my joy at right there. Just listening to how God brought somebody out and how God lifted them up from the bottom and to the top. You know what I'm saying? Because some people, man, they T. I know you seen some of them like Bambi. Wow,
Yep.
Bambi, Bambi, Amber,
Hmm.
Santa.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm telling you, they like their stories is going viral and worldwide, and this busting open the internet because it's of like I said, it's a lot of women go through that and they don't like to talk about it, and so God is using these women to be able to talk about it and come out of it and saying that if you in that place, if you in that dark place, God can bring you out, and like I said, it's amazing. And just being able to, like I said, being able to be on this platform, being able to talk about it, and have them come on here and talk about it. They have to feel safe to be able to come on here and talk about that with me. You know what I'm saying? And you.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. I think that's where I get my joy at. Just connecting with them and allowing them to talk with me and have a conversation and see my authenticity. I can't even say the word. Jesus Christ. I
Authenticity.
authenticity. I gotta
Yeah.
say it slow. Thank you
Get
for the
the,
correction.
you gotta use your teeth in there.
I gotta use my teeth in it.
Yep. Yep.
But and that's the thing. And like I said, see, I don't need to cross all that. I'm not perfect. I'm imperfect. You know what I'm saying? And so, I'm always about correction. Just if I gotta be corrected, correct me. And
Me too. I'm
word,
not always right. Correct
word.
me. I be saying the wrong words all the time.
So it ain't like that's it. I came across a lot of people, and if you go back and look, if you go back and look at from where we started to where we at right now, it has increased. It has gotten better. The visual, the setting, the whole nine has gotten better. And if you really think and look at some of the guests we had on here, some people was not meant to be on here. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, though.
You know what I mean? They
It was
wasn't.
just for the time being that we've had with each other in the past.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they had their time. We can't take that away. We enjoyed their time, so. But I get what you're saying.
yeah, definitely. Well, listen, we're coming up on our time, guys, and listen, tomorrow, man. Listen, if y'all didn't stop by today, I'm telling y'all tomorrow, y'all better stop by. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun. And listen, I'm gonna drop a little secret on y'all right now. What the topic is tomorrow? Ooh, wee! It's gonna be hot, 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 hot. I'm still trying to get like another male on the show because it's gonna be interesting. Is Are women equal to men? Ooh,
Mhm.
height. But you got to remember, whoa, I tell you, that's gonna ruffle some feathers tomorrow, but woo, I promise you it is because it's gonna be juicy. I was my brother was telling me, yeah, if you go 2 hours, then you got no shorts. You got to do it yourself. And boy, we might go 2 hours tomorrow. 'Cause tomorrow. And by the way, y'all, tomorrow is the last. Is it? Is it? Is it? T?
Yes.
Let me see.
It is the last for the next 2 weeks.
Is it? Yeah, we ain't gonna do nothing next week because we going to the wedding. Yeah, it's gonna be for the next 2 weeks. We're gonna be off. We're gonna be taking a little vacation, a little break. And so listen, guys, you guys probably will see me, not on the show. You
I was say
probably
he
will
gonna
see
pop
me.
up.
Yeah, not on here. I probably go somewhere else, and because a lot of people be, hit me up. Oh, hi, Long, what's up, baby? Hey, man, brother, good to see you. Yes, brother, good to see you too, man. Listen, come out. We on here Tuesdays and Wednesdays, man. 6:30. I know you probably working in that kitchen. You know how you do. But yeah, we here 6:30 Eastern time, all the time, man. From the battle to the glory. Listen, we out of here, guys. You guys have a blessed and enjoy the rest of your evening. Hold on to you.